Jim Jones says he passed on signing Drake.
I had no idea. You could have signed Drake, J. Cole, and The Weeknd?
Yeah, definitely. See how life goes? But I do believe, like, time don't lie, shit like that. And I'm grateful that I was able to have those times and everything. But I'm also grateful to see how big of artists they have become.
What up, where's your boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those cash outs to CLBMG. Join the membership gang. Jim Jones said he almost signed your boy Drake. A lot of people have these stories. Everybody has. I think T-Pain almost signed Drake, and it's always these stories of these artists that could have signed this guy, could have signed you. I'm sure that there are 20 guys up there. I could have signed Drake. There's 15 guys I could have signed Eminem. Like it's always I could have signed him. Well, you don't know that you could have signed him, but I'm gonna roll with what Jimmy's saying because this is another claim that Jim has made, and it's a newsworthy claim, gang. I'm just gonna be honest because the simple fact of the matter is Jim has been really tapping into some algorithm breaking things lately. He challenged Nas in a way, and it kind of broke the algorithm. Let's just be honest. A lot of people had a lot to say. I think I done made at this point 4 videos on it, and we're still talking about Jim Jones and this Nas situation. And Nas had to rewrite his verse because he didn't want to be looked at as he was dissing Jim Jones. And a lot of you don't believe that he wasn't dissing Jim Jones. A lot of you are still quoting that leaked verse of Nas and Raekwon off of Raekwon's new album. You're saying, how could it not be about Jim Jones? And Nas is playing a masterful game of seashell where he's hiding. You know what I'm saying? He's switching the seashells around and making you looking under each seashell. He's playing a game of algorithm bending of his own. And a lot of people think that Raekwon also is playing a hell of a rollout game with his album with this. It was a leak, but I didn't leak it. But Raekwon came out and said, no one from my camp leaked it. And no, Nas did not write that about Jim Jones. He wrote that verse before Jim Jones even said one thing about him. So no, that verse is not directed at Jim Jones. But some of you don't believe it. But let me continue because Jim Jones has yet another story to tell. This dude, Jim Jones, he right there with Nori and a couple other people that got a bunch of stories. They could have did this, that, and the third, and it's getting to the point like Fat Joe where people are starting to be like, come on, son. Right? People starting to get like Ed Lover, and they're like, man, these stories getting a little far-fetched. We just don't believe you, gang. So I don't know, but let me read this and find out. We can find out together what's going on. Jim Jones has claimed that he once passed on signing Drake, J. Cole, and The Weeknd. So it's not just Drake, it's J. Cole and The Weeknd. Speaking to the Art of Dialogue, salute the Art of Dialogue over there doing their thing. Jones claimed the opportunities came about when he was vice president of urban A&R at Koch Records back in 2009. Y'all remember Koch Records where 50 said artists go to die, right? They was heated when he said that. It was true, but you didn't want to say that out loud. But Koch Records was a seminal place for a lot of, I think Joe Budden ended up there, a lot of rappers on the tail end of their career, or not gonna say tail end, but they were cooling off. They might have gotten dropped from their label or this, that, and the third, but Koch Records was signing a lot of older acts. It wasn't young guys like a Drake and this and that in the third. They were signing a lot of older, I don't want to say Twilight years artists, but some guy, let's just be honest, 50 was dead on, but 50 didn't know those guys was making money over there. 50 respects money, so he just took a jab at Jim Jones and Dipset because they were beefing. But 50 said artists go to Koch to die. It was funny because it looked that way. A lot of artists was ending up their careers over there at Koch, let's just be honest. But Jimmy was running the A&R, urban A&R at Koch. And these guys was tapping in a lot of people that we wanted to hear get the last rights on their career. We wanted to hear those last albums and this, that, and the third. And Koch was bringing those albums to you. I'm not gonna say I bought, but I listened to a couple albums off of Koch, and I honestly considered trying to present music to Koch. I might have sent something over there trying to get signed over there. I'm just gonna be honest. This was a long time ago, but I wasn't an artist at the Twilight because I had never been signed in the first place. I was an independent artist, which was a different thing. Independent artists can go forever. There's no Twilight to an independent artist. You can go forever. When you're on a major label and you get dropped, that's when you got the problems. But let me continue. He said, quote, J. Cole used to be in my studio all the time. I can say that wholeheartedly. And then Drake, Alan Grunblatt let me hear some of his music. But I kept telling him he had no image. I didn't understand it. It didn't connect. But he could rap his ass off. See, that's the thing. no vision. See, people need the vision to be played out like Adele. People thought Adele, she's too big, this, and that, and the third. And then somebody said, no, we're going to just focus on the voice. Right? It's quite a few artists. Lizzo. A lot of people probably saw Lizzo. I'm sure mad labels turned down Lizzo. I'm sure they turned just off looking at it. 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang. We can't sell this. Da, da, da. Somebody took the chance. Just said, let's just focus on the voice, get some really good music, and the rest will do his work. And that's the thing. A lot of label heads, they don't get a lot of this stuff. They don't have no vision. Right? A lot of people sit in them chairs, positions of power. They passed on a lot of stuff because they couldn't see it. Dr. Dre had to put Eminem on. A lot of people passed on Eminem. A lot of labels passed on Eminem. They couldn't see it. The white boy, a lot of labels passed on Kanye. Kanye was always struggling. He had one label interested in him, and he almost went there. What was the label? Was it Epic or something like that? Either Epic or Arista. One of these labels was in a back and forth with Dame Dash about signing Kanye, and Dame Dash ultimately signed him because the label had actually, I think that last deal he had failed through. And for one, this down the third, it's in the documentary. This down the third, one reason or the other, it didn't work out for Kanye, so Dame Dash ended up signing him. But Kanye wasn't looked at as signable. If they don't see, rap was in a weird, funny ass place. Let's just be honest. Look at Kanye, look at Drake, look at J. Cole, look at all them at the time, look at Eminem. They didn't fit in that plastic mold of rapper, your fucking wife beater, hat on backwards, some Jordans, like, you know what I'm saying? It just tattoos, like, it just was, at one point, there was a prototypical image of a rapper. Hardcore, going crazy, cursing out the face, always ready to fight. I'll shoot you, stab you, tough ass rapper. It was an image that these rappers had, gold chains and big money, Some of these guys still look like that and try to act like that, but for the most part, that was the image. So you're looking at a Drake, you're looking at a Kanye, you're looking at a Eminem. They don't fit that mold. So you can't, a lot of these guys in the industry, they're just trying to make money real quick. They don't want to take a chance on something like that. So they don't have no vision. They used to have a thing where the labels would groom you and build you and show you how to become a marketable project, right? A marketable product. They would take their time and it's called artist development. After a while, the labels weren't making as much money, so they stopped all that artist development and all this shit. A lot of A&Rs got dropped. A lot of people got fired, right? Because they were like, we need the artists to walk through this door already, selling out the trunk, quote unquote, like Ludacris and Master P. Because Master P and Ludacris was already making big money selling out the trunk, quote unquote. So they were like, you know what? Why go and develop somebody that we're not sure is going to pop? We're going to get a guy that's already putting his ad, he's already putting ads in the source for himself. He's already paying for his own marketing. He's already selling hundreds of thousands of units. We're going to start following those guys. And what they started to do, and it's still to this day, they want to sign somebody that's already popping. So right now, if you send in your demo, or you go to a record label for a sit down, I'm going to tell you 100 times out of 10, that person you're sitting down with, he's going to open up his computer. He's going to type your name into Google. He's going to go straight to your page and see how many followers you got. Then he's going to go straight to your YouTube and see how many YouTube. He's not even going to try to decipher if you're talented. He's going to look up your page and see if you got a following, see if your records are hitting, and they'll sign you off for that. They don't want to develop you. They don't want to say, man, this guy got potential. This guy really could blow. They know it's going to take too long to do that. A lot of these guys, they don't got that lot. They don't even know they're going to be in that job in 6 months. They don't got time to try to train you and make you into a marketable commodity. Because then some kid like, what's this guy? The guy out of New York, right? Bobby Shmurda did a $200 video, blew up. So it's like, yo, I can just go find me a Bobby Shmurda that blew up on his own without even trying. Then they're not going to sit there and try to work with you for 8 months and then you flop anyway. So they're not even, they're signing people off TikTok now, gang. They're signing YouTubers. A YouTuber make a song it's the corniest shit ever. They'll go sit down with them. Let's talk numbers. What you looking for? Like, it'll be the worst song ever, but it's getting streams, and they're making dances to it, right? I remember Rice Gum. I remember Rice Gum had a record deal. Like, it's crazy. Like they're signing streamers, gang. So they don't want to develop you no more. So that's what he was doing. He was in this. It wasn't necessarily, I'm not saying him, but if you're looking at it from, okay, what are these people? Because you're just an A&R. So you're going to have to present it to the people over you. And you're going to say, yo, listen, I got to have a whole image marked up. So he couldn't mark up an image for Drake. He's like, I don't see it. I don't see it. And that's what a lot of these guys, they didn't see it. So somebody else took Drake and they and the rest is history. Okay, let me continue. Jones added, Would it have been nice? Yeah, that would have been dope. But who knows? They might have not had the success that was given to them from the work they put in if they had went through the channels that I had to offer. Jim Jones, those channels would have been different. And Jim Jones would have, you got to think, Lil Wayne and Cash Money, they're trying to make big records. They're trying to make records that's going to resonate on radio and this, that, and the third. I'm just going to be honest. I would say that Jim Jones is going to try to make more hood-centric records, and he's going to try to make you fit into that hood mode. Trying to push Drake into a hood mode would have been a fail. It wouldn't have worked from day one. He wouldn't be where he is right now. He needed to be in a bigger, the formula for success for him was always going to be bigger records, more accessible music that is going to resonate on the radio. He wouldn't have been good in those worlds of Joel Santana and you know what I'm saying, like Max Beat. That stuff wouldn't have worked for him. They would have been like, yo, who is this guy? He's not even from here. Like, so it would have been a tough sale. So Jim, you didn't really miss out on passing him because he got built up by the associations in Houston and this, that, and the third. You would have associated him with New York people. It wouldn't have worked. He needed to go to Houston. He needed to go to Atlanta. He needed to be in that lane, and those people cultivated him to where he is today. The New York thing wouldn't have worked for him. You know what I'm saying? Baggy jeans, it wouldn't have worked for him. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, he would have got some nice clothes. He would have got some very nice gear and some pretty sweet belt buckles, but I don't think the rest of it would have worked out. I'm just gonna be honest. Because who else is popping out of New York outside of the people, A Boogie with the hook, a few people, Pop Smoke? It ain't that many like that. Not on no Drake level. And all the people I'm naming came way after Drake. All right? So New York was dry for a while. Let me just keep it moving. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. Jones also revealed that he failed to sign The Weeknd due to personal reasons as he met the Canadian singer the same day a close friend was killed. So he had some stuff going on. He couldn't sign The Weeknd. So right there, he could have signed Drake, could have signed The Weeknd. But signing them to Koch is different, gang. Right here, I just told you, Koch is where you go to die. Telling somebody I just got signed to Koch at like 24, like that's like they'd be like, what's going on? Like, so it would have been different. The whole thing would have been different. Signing to Young Money, Cash Money is a different aura. That's a different aura to be like announcing on your back then. It was MySpace. I just signed a deal, gang. So announcing that I just signed to Koch don't hit the same. Signing to Lil Wayne and Young Money, Cash Money is different. Let's just be honest. It's just different. So that right there would have put these guys in a different space. Jones is not the first person to reject signing J. Cole early in his career. Speaking on his podcast series Inevitable, Cole revealed that he was overlooked by Eminem's manager, Paul Rosenberg. And Paul Rosenberg knows hip-hop, but at the same time, again, image is everything. Signing Eminem is one managing Eminem is one thing. But trying to find a rapper that's in that climate after you've already had the success of an Eminem, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. And a lot of people that even came on Shady Records was because M knew them personally some kind of way, right? Obi Trice and all these different guys. He pulled them out of his own element. But getting a guy from Queens, New York, he wasn't from Queens, from North Carolina, but he went to college in New York and Queens, this and that third. So you're getting this guy that is shaped a certain way, but he doesn't move like rappers move. J. Cole was a tough fit. Jay-Z didn't know what to do with J. Cole. Let's just be honest. He signed him, then held him back for years talking about you don't have a hit. So J. Cole was not he wasn't an easy transition into the game. I'm just going to be honest. He had to use Kanye's record and get a hit record. So J. Cole wasn't an easy fit into the game either. Let me just keep this moving. After that meeting with G-Unit, we got a meeting with two people. One was Chris Lighty and the other was, I think, Shy Money XL. He had something to do with this. He got us a meeting with Paul Rosenberg, who was Eminem's manager forever and runs Shady Music. Cole said, just like being at 50's house and meeting Mark Pitts, it was now we're taking momentum. Now we're talking momentum. Just a year prior, I was fucking waiting outside on some Hail Mary shit for Jay-Z. And now I'm getting real momentum of people calling like they want to come and see us. They want us to pull up and play music. Cole's manager then added, I remember when at the Paul Rosenberg meeting, because I was there for that, I really felt like he was doing someone a favor. And then he also went on, this is Cole still talking. Chris Lighty's energy was more like, yo, I'm just going to give y'all some game. Y'all some young niggas I heard about. Boom, boom, boom. And Paul Rosenberg genuinely felt like he was disinterested and didn't give a fuck. It literally felt like it was a favor. There was no vibe to that meeting at all. He didn't see it. He didn't get it, which is cool. He didn't play us at all. So yeah, it's just it's timing. Some people not meant to be with certain people. Paul Rosenberg would have been a disaster for J. Cole. I'm just gonna be honest. That they're not even the same vibe as fucking of artists that he's pushing. It wouldn't even have made no sense. It's just two different things. And I think that probably was for the best because he ended up going with Jay, and Jay's name with these names, man. A lot of these people went where they're supposed to go. Kanye went where he was supposed to go. So it's like I could have signed this guy, I could have signed that guy. You know what I'm saying? Da, da, da. But at the end of the day, they wouldn't have worked. I'm sure there's a million artists that did get signed that was like, damn, my career flopped because I signed with this person. Ask Cannabis. You know what I'm saying? Cannabis, worst disaster was messing with Wyclef. That was the worst decision of his life. Had Cannabis went with somebody else, we would have had a different story. But he went to Wyclef, and Wyclef ruined that man's career. And let's just be honest, Wyclef still ruining people's career. I like Wyclef, but he messed that Wayne album up. Let me just keep this moving, man. End of the day, man, these are stories in history. They weren't meant to happen. They weren't meant to be, but it is what it is. People are allowed to tell these stories because they're part of history. And I feel like J. Cole is no worse off, and Drake is no worse off, and Jim Jones is no worse off. These are just great stories that we need in this hip hop space. So salute to Jim Jones for telling the story. Salute to J. Cole. Salute to Drake. Salute to everybody mentioned in the story. Chris Lighty, rest in peace. Salute to Paul Rosenberg, you know what I mean? Salute to The Weeknd and all that. The Weeknd was fine. He ended up going somewhere else and he made his own lane. All right, I'm gonna catch y'all on that flip, man. I'm out of here, man. CLBMG. Make sure you head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. Also, every Wednesday night, we go live on The What Show. Me, TJ, and Flares. We talk about hip hop. We talk about all kind of stuff, sports and this, that, and the third. Make sure you tap in around 9:15-ish. All right, we got about 200 people in the chat. Make sure you're one of them. Also, every Monday night, we go live with the Underground Edge. It's hip-hop videos with myself and others, and we just keep it moving, man. All right? I'm going to catch you on that flip. I'm out of here. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat, get my sheepskin, grab my wallet, get my pocket knife, and get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within. With the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin. With the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end. And then secured a spot with some goons and some kin. And then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh,